Okay, so now you're governor of Illinois, and this is your first time in a position of this caliber.
Yeah.
And a lot of stuff happened. There was a big moratorium on state executions that you pushed. Was there a reason why you were against the death penalty?
Well, it was my predecessor who did that. So after I was elected, he put in a moratorium on the death penalty in Illinois. What he did was he also released a whole bunch of guys out of death row. It turned out that DNA tests showed they were innocent, that they did not commit the murders they were convicted of. And so he, to his credit, put that moratorium on because the system in Illinois was broken, that a lot of these guys were being railroaded. They hadn't committed the murders they were convicted of. And so when I became the governor, I extended that moratorium. I didn't lift it. I didn't change it. And it's interesting you ask about the death penalty. Prior to that, I had been a supporter of the death penalty. In fact, when I ran for Congress in 1996 during the Democrat primary, one of the issues that distinguished me from my biggest opponent in the Democratic primary was the issue of the death penalty. She was against it. I had been for it. And we would have debates and discuss the merits or demerits of the issue. As the years went by and we learned about the broken system and those guys who hadn't committed murder who were facing the death penalty, my position changed. And I have to say, looking back, she was right and I was wrong. And in view of what I've experienced in the criminal justice system, with the imperfections in it, with some of the brokenness of it, even how they rig it sometimes, my positions to this day is I don't support the death penalty. I do believe there are some cases that are so bad that natural justice requires it, but I don't have enough faith and confidence that the system works enough where you're not going to execute an innocent person. So my position has evolved from my own experience. And so my predecessor did that. It wasn't me. I extended it, but I did nothing to change it.
Also, you were very big on gun control.
Yes, and here's another place where my views have evolved from my own personal experience. So, yes, you point out gun control. When I ran for Congress as a state lawmaker, and some of the positions I took and some of the bills that I sponsored, coming from an urban district, a city district, a high crime area, I pushed a lot of gun control initiatives. And as a result, the NRA gave me a grade of an F-, not an F. They gave me F-. Now, I think I deserved a D-, not an F-, but I got an F-. In the district I ran in Congress for, David Axelrod, who's a very well-known political consultant, he went on to be one of the political gurus for President Obama. But Axelrod put together a direct mail piece. And on the front cover, it was very well done, real professional, multicolored. I think the opening page was, I got an F-. And then you have to open it up. And then it says, from the NRA. We actually ran on that. Now, the years would go by, and I would learn more about that issue. And when I ran for governor, one of the arguments against me being unelectable was that issue, was the people in Southern Illinois and Central Illinois, where they support the Second Amendment, would not vote for a guy from Chicago with an F- rating from the NRA. But by then, 6 years in Congress, I learned more about the issue, and I became less of an advocate for gun control than I had been when I was a state lawmaker. I still was one, but not as much. And then when I became governor, I learned more about the complexities of the issue. And then, after the calamity again came into my life, and I saw what government can do and how they can rig things and come after you and steal your freedom, I'm a lot more not only open-minded, but I'm a lot more sensitive to the argument that the Second Amendment advocates make, which is, freedom is fragile, and if the government takes away our guns, that's a step towards them taking away our freedoms. I used to dismiss that argument, but in view of what happened to me in my hard experience, I very much appreciate that argument, understand that argument, and sympathize with that argument. So there, too, my positions have evolved.
Well, 2006, you go for your reelection. And Obama supported you on this one as well, right?
Yes, he did. He did. He supported me in my reelection for 2006. And then after I won that, I was the first governor to endorse Obama for president when he positioned himself in 2007 to run in the Democratic primaries and the caucuses in 2008.
Okay, and speaking of 2008, you were doing a speech in front of a group of African Americans, and you said that you sometimes consider yourself the first African American governor of Illinois.
Did I say that? I know people would say that about me, but did I actually say that? I said later on I would say something really stupid about being blacker than Obama. That I remember saying, and that came after I was arrested. But did I actually say that? It's okay. I take great pride in it if I did say that. Go ahead.
It came up in my notes. So,
look, I hope I did.
Hold on a second. Let's look it up. Let's look it up. As constituents loyal to him continue to contract, Rod Blagojevich is doing his absolute well. One example, how he recently held events, programs catered to the African American community, among others like the elderly. In the past Monday, in a speech to the City Club of Chicago, Blagojevich may have gone too far.
Sounds like I said it.
And that's where he said, there are times I consider myself the first African American governor of Illinois.
Fair enough. Yeah, it sounds like something I would say, and I'm not going to unsay that. I'm not going to walk it back. I felt a real affinity for the black community when I was the governor. I to this day I do. I feel that way. I feel, when I think about the black community, I think about fellow underdogs. Their life experience has been a lot more challenging than mine, but I have comparable experiences growing up in the inner city of Chicago and going through the public school system and issues of inferior schools, inferior health care, the kind of things that I saw in my life when I became governor and actually had the power of Vlad. I would push a lot of that stuff, and we did a lot of things on health care, free public transportation for our seniors, breast and cervical cancer screenings for uninsured women who disproportionately are black. So there were a lot of policy initiatives that I did and successfully achieved that helped black people. So in that sense, I think I was saying it probably in the context of that. Now, later on, when my troubles came, you may ask me later when we go down the narrative, but I said something that was really something I shouldn't have said, and I apologize for, and that was that I was blacker than Obama. But I'll explain that to you later if you want to ask me about it, or if you want to ask me about it now.
No, we'll get to that. We'll get to that.